Am I the a-hole for making my stepdad cry when I told him we didn't choose him? Mom did. My parents have been divorced since I, 17 female, was a baby. They had me and my two older brothers, 19 and 22, together. Custody of us was split equally, and we moved from mom's house to dad's house every week. When I was 4, my mom met my stepdad. She introduced him to me and my brothers when we were 6, 8, and 11. Things got awkward after that. My stepdad, before he was my stepdad, would come to my brother's football games or my school plays, and he'd get really weird about seeing dad. I remember running to my dad after my school's talent show, where I won, and my stepdad intercepted and picked me up to hug me. When I didn't hug him back, he said he wanted a hug from his girl. I said I wanted my dad, and he looked annoyed that my dad was there to begin with. I hadn't known him that long either, maybe 5 months max, so it was weird. I used to hold dad's hand a lot back then too, and every time one of my brothers had a game during dad's parenting time, my stepdad would get this furious look that I'd hold dad's hand. A few times he tried to do the same, but I shook him off. One incident happened just before my mom and stepdad got married. He called me and my brothers his and mom's kids. My dad rolled his eyes but didn't argue, and my stepdad accused him of showing disrespect and dismissing his role in front of us kids. My dad told him we didn't stop being his and mom's kids just because she'd moved on, and my stepdad called him an a-hole for pushing him out. Father's Day activities were weird because my stepdad wanted to do them all, and we just wanted to do them with our dad. My mom told us we should do something with our stepdad because he loved us and showed up for us, so we reluctantly did one thing a year with him. But then he would cyber-stalk dad and see we did so much more with him. One time, close to Father's Day, my grandparents brought us all out for the day, and my stepdad saw Grandma take me to buy something for Dad. He assumed it was for him and, I guess, had a meltdown on Father's Day when he saw Dad post it on his socials. When I was 10, my mom ended up in the hospital for over a month with the flu and another infection. My stepdad wanted to take on Mom's custody, and Dad said no. He told my stepdad we weren't his kids, so he didn't get to keep us in Mom's place. We didn't try to go with him either, and my stepdad blamed my dad and said he poisoned our minds against him. My stepdad was more aggressive afterward about trying to be the other dad. He insisted on doing professional family portraits and tried really hard to have me and my brothers standing around him instead of us being equally close to him and Mom. He insisted on our birthday parties at Mom's house being family parties and inviting all of his family. He started signing cards to us as Dad. My oldest brother said he even scratched out his name in cards we gave him and wrote Dad in. He insisted my brothers play tennis with him and said he'd be their trainer. He tried to make me do father-daughter dances with him, but I refused and always found ways around it. We talked to Mom about our issues with all of that several times. Mom would always say we should cut him some slack and try harder to appreciate him and bond with him because he felt othered by us. She told my brothers they were always so rude to him and that was not okay, and she told me I could be blessed with 2 dads if I gave it a shot. I told her if he had his way, I'd only have him, and she said I didn't have to let it happen, but should see it as a sign of his love for me. Even him and Mom having my 2 half-brothers together changed nothing. All of this is why I chose to live with my dad when I turned 16. I go to Mom's house for a few hours every month, but I don't sleep there anymore, and I don't stay long if things get weird. But they did last week. My stepdad brought up how he felt ignored and unappreciated by me and my brothers, and how my decision to live with Dad hurt him. Then he said that you'd think we'd be more loving to the person we chose to add to the family, and I was like, whoa, no, Mom chose you, not us. That's when the tears started, and he told me I really wanted to crush his spirit by telling him that, and he said he didn't know what he did to make me hate him that much. My mom was mad that I said it and made him cry too. So I left, and I didn't apologize. I don't regret it, and it's true, we didn't choose him. Mom texted a bunch to say I should apologize and make more of an effort because it's not fair that he keeps trying and none of us reciprocate. Does what I said make me the a-hole? Now for the top comments. That man is absolutely unhinged and you should tell him exactly why you cannot stand to be around him. It is his own damn fault for trying to take the place of your own actual father when your father was there all along. He has mental problems and you don't owe him a damn thing. He doesn't really listen to us. That's what him doing the same thing over and over again has taught me. He's probably the kind of person who has zero ability to understand a different point of view other than his own. You'd probably have to ask him how would he feel if he and your mother split, and her new husband tried to eject him from his two sons' lives the way he has tried to with your father. Not the a-hole. I'll bet your mom's tone would entirely change about this type of behavior if it was the shoe on the other foot. She would be losing her ever-loving mind if your dad had remarried and your new stepmom was behaving like this. Your stepdad's behavior is weird and creepy. He needs therapy. Oh, my mom would be in prison right now if the role reversed. She would totally beat the crap out of someone who tried to become our new mom. I'm not even joking. Next story. Am I the a-hole for dropping my kids off with my wife when she is with a grieving friend? My wife's best friend Jessie lost her husband about a month ago. It was sudden and tragic, and my wife has been deeply affected by it. Since the day it happened, she spent nearly every waking hour at Jessie's house, helping her with errands, cooking meals, or just keeping her company. I completely understand that Jessie is grieving and that she needs support right now, but it's starting to take a serious toll on our family life. I work a demanding job that requires me to be on call some nights. Because money's tight, I can't afford to turn down those calls. Lately, though, I've been feeling like a single parent. Our daughters, ages 6 and 9, need their mom around too. I've talked to my wife several times about maybe cutting back a little, at least being home for dinner or bedtime, but every conversation turns into a fight. She accuses me of being selfish and heartless, saying that I don't understand what Jessie is going through. Yesterday, things finally came to a head. I was on call, and this time, I actually got called in. I phoned my wife and told her I needed her to come home right away so I could leave for work. She flat out told me no, that Jessie needed her, and that I should figure it out. I was stunned. We can't afford a babysitter. My parents live too far away, and her parents aren't allowed near the kids for good reasons. My friends all have their own families to worry about. I was out of options. So, with no other choice, I packed up our daughters and dropped them off at Jessie's house on my way to work. My wife was furious when she found out. When I got home, the argument exploded. I told her she needed to start being a parent again, that our children deserve her attention too. I said I was tired of her playing house at Jessie's, while I'm left managing everything alone. She called me a heartless freaking man, but I stand by what I said. I feel like I've been pushed into a corner. I want to support her compassion, but she also needs to remember our family still needs her too. A day with a grieving friend is needed. A week is kindness. A month when you have kids at home is bizarre. Neglect is the word you are thinking of, not bizarre. The wife is neglecting her family big time. Her parents aren't allowed around the kids. Sounds like she probably learned how to be a crappy parent from them. Not the a-hole. So she basically wanted you to either choose between getting fired or leave your minor children unattended and risk CPS involvement? Your wife is neglecting her children. She needs a reality check. There's being there for your bestie, and then there's completely disregarding your responsibilities. Jessie needs to call some family if she needs this much attention, or consider inpatient care. I wonder if Jess really wants or needs her there this much. Honestly, if I was in that situation, having friends around sometimes would be great, but I'd also want and need some time alone without someone hovering. Maybe the wife has some type of angel or helper thing, and this just makes her feel good whether or not it's what Jess wants and needs. This is excessive on the part of OP's wife, and interesting if it's really what Jess wants. If it is, then I agree Jess needs to call upon other friends and family. Next story. My sister accused me of punishing her kids and letting them go hungry because I told her if someone like me can cook for my family, so can she. Am I the a-hole? My sister and I grew up in a traditional household where men and boys did manual labor and women did the cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the babies. So I, 24 male, was never taught to cook, clean, or do anything womanly. It meant I never even used a microwave or made my own sandwich before I moved out of my parents' house. It also meant my sister, 28 female, never learned how to do anything other than cook, clean, and raise babies. And she was encouraged to marry young, skip college, and be a trad wife. I used to be punished for trying to enter the kitchen, and my sister would be punished if she did boy stuff with me. My sister followed the path our parents set out for her, while I have gone totally no contact with them, and my sister is my only biological family contact I have. We're not super close, but I love her, and I always hoped she'd eventually get away from the upbringing we had. For a while now, I have suspected that my sister got at least a part-time job to help provide for her family because she has been busier lately, and that was after months of her talking about the financial struggles her family had. She would never admit to working because that's a man's thing, per our upbringing, but I suspect it. If I'm right, this has made her more prickly, mean, and judgmental. If I'm wrong, then she's just more judgmental anyway. This has become apparent when we talk. See, I'm married, and my wife and I have one child together. We both work. We take turns cooking, cleaning, and doing other chores. And I reduced my hours for a while to be home more with our child when my wife went back to work so that we could save on childcare expenses. My sister can't believe I do this stuff, and more than once, when it came to me cooking, she has said she can't believe someone like me is cooking for my family. To her, it's the worst thing she could imagine, because a man cooking is just a big no. Even professional chefs get crap said about them by her, which is what our parents and all their like-minded friends did. A couple of weeks ago, my sister asked me to send over some cooked meals for her family because she didn't have the time to make anything worthwhile or good. I asked her why she'd want me, of all people, to send her food. She said she's seen the stuff I make and she wants that for her kids, that she still can't believe someone like me is cooking that, but since I do, I could help her out. I told her I wasn't sending her the food, and that if someone like me can cook like that, a stay-at-home mom like her should be totally capable of doing it. That's when she turned around and accused me of punishing her kids by letting them go hungry, because they can't eat like that due to her time constraints. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If a man cooking is just a big no to your sister, then by her own logic, she shouldn't even be asking you for food. Why doesn't she ask your mother for food since, men shouldn't be cooking at all, and she still can't believe someone like you is cooking? I have wondered that, but I would guess she is trying to hide the fact she's working. Assuming she is, but that's my best guess for her being busy. Your sister sounds like a trained tool. Not the a-hole. You don't owe it to her to cook for her and her kids if she won't even try for herself and her kids. I was just envisioning Gordon Ramsay's colorful response to her family's BS complaints about men cooking. When I was in culinary school, several of the chef instructors flat out told us that women didn't belong in the kitchen to classes that were half women. Because of that culture, a lot of the women who stay with it go into garde-manger, pastry, and catering. As for the chef who was head of the program at the time, I asked him what options that left me, as I was apparently supposed to stay in the kitchen and the bedroom. The most amusing thing was that I was paying for school with benefits from my full-time job as an auto worker, building pickup trucks, another male-dominated field. Last story. Am I the a-hole for hanging up on my mother-in-law after she booked a family holiday that excluded me? I, 30 female, have recently been really sick and in and out of the hospital getting infusion treatments. My husband has been my rock through it all. Last year, we moved states because my in-laws asked us to. They have a micro-family and want to stay close. Since our move, they've never once come to visit us except after we bought our house. They visited for an hour and left to beat traffic. We've driven to them over 15 times, an hour each way, and they still expect us to go to them, even though the drive now wipes me out and risks my health. I don't have any family or close friends here besides them, and despite my husband asking several times for help, they always make excuses as to why they can't visit, even though they're both retired. What's going on now is my mother-in-law and husband share a birthday. She recently called him saying it would be fun if the whole family went on a week-long trip to celebrate and couple it with Thanksgiving. When my husband said he'd need to check with me since I have appointments and, his job, she told him it's best I stay home and rest while everyone else went. He immediately told her no. He wasn't leaving me when I'm this sick, especially during the holiday. He asked if we could postpone until I completed these rounds of treatment and just stick to something local. That's when mother-in-law dropped that she'd already booked a resort 3 hours away, spent thousands, and that if we did come, we'd be ruining Thanksgiving and her birthday. When he asked why she'd book it without confirming with us, she said it was the only week his brother was free. That's when it really hit me. She never intended to include me, or possibly even my husband. Her only concern was his brother's availability, whom she sees every day. It felt like she either purposely booked the trip to guilt my husband into going without me, or as a way to exclude us. I was over it, exhausted, and just done with the lack of effort and care from her. I asked my husband if I could talk to her, and in the calmest, most sarcastic tone I said, "Please don't cancel your vacation. I really truly hope you have such an amazing time on your birthday. So much so that you forget we're even there, because we won't be. Bye." Then I hung up the phone. My husband took the phone and put it in his pocket. He told me he had no notes, and we carried on with our day. Now mother-in-law, father-in-law, and brother-in-law are calling non-stop, leaving messages saying I was rude and disrespectful. So, am I the a-hole for hanging up on my mother-in-law after she booked a family holiday that excluded me? Time to put the house on the market and move to greener pastures. Yep, go back where life is peaceful. Also, love the husband's response, no notes. A+ spousing right there. Right, I am so jaded by all the mama's boy man-child posts here that I just assumed the next sentence after OP hanging up was going to be about the husband being mad at her and is pouting in a corner now. So nice to see spouses supporting each other. Not the a-hole, and I think you should talk to your husband about moving out of the area, possibly closer to your own family if that would be desirable. I'm especially alarmed at the way they tried to convince your husband to go on holiday without you. Maybe they secretly want to drive a wedge between you and your spouse, so they can get you out of the family? You know, the whole get him alone so they can start subtly trashing you angle. Alternatively, your husband's brother is the golden child, and your in-laws don't care if their plans don't work for you and your husband. I think OP's medical treatments should factor into any decisions at this point. We don't know if they transferred or quit and got new jobs. You don't want to switch jobs and insurance coverages in the midst of regular infusions. Just saying.